Tomorrow, Napanee in southern Ontario. Wednesday night, Portage la Prairie. We're going to be out of a curling rink in Portage. Don't blow away there now, Carl. I can't do the weather all by myself.
Here I am protecting the chief correspondent, for heaven's sake, so can't have you fall down on me.
No.
Here.
But that's a sense. We got to go to Ottawa, get the new government swearing in, and next week we're in BC and Alberta.
Great. Well, it's a great idea, and we're so happy to have you here, and have a great week.
Thanks, Carl. It's great to work with you.
Okay. Back to you, Debbie.
Thanks very much, you guys. It was great. That is our show for this Monday, December the 8th. And as they've just been talking about, don't forget to watch the National tonight at 10:30, 10 in most of Labrador. Good night, everyone.
Think the few papers
want to run it again. And road stories.
We want to share this with Canada.
We asked you what would make a good story. What's important? What's new? From Newfoundland, you told us about a Christmas tradition, about a forgotten piece of history in Labrador.
None of us should have survived that, really.
And a community that's come back from disaster.
11 months is a long time out of your house.
Your stories, your way.
The National. From Port de Grave, Newfoundland. Here is Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening. Well, we are a long way from our usual cozy studio tonight. It's about 3,000 kilometers that way. The Atlantic Ocean just a few steps that way. And this whole area has been getting whipped by that nor'easter you've been hearing about. We're about an hour's drive out of St. John's in a town called Port de Grave. About 1,100 people live on this peninsula in a number of small communities like Black Duck Pond, Ship Cove, Pick Eyes, Hibbs Hole, and wait for it, Blow Me Down. Many still earn a living the old way, out on the sea. But the people of Port de Grave have changed with the times, adapted to new needs and appetites. And they're doing very well, thank you. It's quite a story. Tonight, the longliners have a festive look to them. That's because they've been strung with lights to get ready for the annual boat lighting ceremony to mark the holidays. Well, tonight we're going to share some stories about the people who live around here, their stories. That's coming up. First, though, the news of this day. The big storm, a nor'easter that came and just wouldn't leave. Northwest of here, in Gander, a blizzard warning was in effect most of the day. The snow still coming down. In Moncton, drifts are shoulder high. Charlottetown is blanketed. And while Nova Scotia escaped most of it, Cape Breton got caught. Sonia Varma has the story.
Parts of Newfoundland are getting pounded. The storm system that blasted New England and the Maritimes is unleashing its force. Meteorologists predict wind gusts of 100 kilometers per hour for parts of the coast. For central areas like Gander, an overnight blizzard warning. Newfoundlanders can expect to wake up to more snow.
Well, back now to why we're here, the road stories. As we mentioned earlier, the inspiration came from you, our viewers. The story ideas are your ideas. They came from all over the country. We'll visit several communities over the next 2 weeks, taking the National where you said it should go. If your province isn't included, don't worry, we'll be doing this again in the new year. But we start tonight right here in Port de Grave with a story idea that came from this man, Bill Ralph. He's the harbor master here in Port de Grave. Got the best office in town, up on a bluff overlooking the harbor. Spectacular view of this harbor. But your idea, what was it?
Oh, first of all, Peter, welcome to Port de Grave.
Thank you very much.
And my idea came from it. Most news stories that we see across on our TV screens over the past few years, and maybe 10 years, is negative stories about boats that's tied up, covered up with canvas, or rotting on beaches. So, in my opinion, Port de Grave Harbour and the fishing community is a real success story.
It certainly is, and we're going to tell that story with Rex in just a moment. But the other part of what you wanted us to do, you also wanted us to be here to see the incredible lights they set up here every year.
Yes, we wanted to share our boat lighting and the view with the rest of the people of Canada, actually.
And it's quite the contest that goes on now between all the communities in this part of Newfoundland with the lighting ceremonies.
Yes, at this point in time we have approximately 61 boats lit up for this particular occasion, and specifically lit up tonight for the CBC show, National. Port de Grave National.
Well, the Port de Grave National. You got that right. Listen, it's great to have you here, and it's a great idea. In a way, the boat lighting is a powerful symbol for this community. Rex Murphy found that out when he spent a couple of days here, and I've got to say, he had the better weather.
If, by good chance, you were to leave St. John's and under the nearly unfailing sunshine for which Newfoundland is famous the world over, travel 50 miles along the curves and through the settlements of the Conception Bay Highway, you'd find yourself entering one of the most distinctive, long-enduring, both bare and beautiful of all Newfoundland's historic fishing communities. This is Port de Grave. It's a small town of about 750 souls, not a house in it much further than a stone's throw from its newly improved and upgraded harbor. These days, the harbor is packed with the Port de Grave crab fleet, a collection of high-tech, colorful, and expensive 40 to 65-foot boats that are the reason for this town's prosperity.
I started off with the codfish license, like many other fishermen around here.
Resident and career fisherman Harold Effort.
We went at the herring, mackerel, capon, and the crab and the squid. So we diverse. When one fishery failed, we diverse to another one.
It's a place with its own dialect, as rich and unmistakable as the brazen colors on some of the ships in the harbor, and an accent as good as a passport.
That's what I was thinking. So all the weight wouldn't be on that gum is what I was thinking.
They like their boats in Port de Grave. They like to build them, and they like to sail them. They always have, right from the beginning.
Dates well back.
Vernon Petton has built every boat he's owned, save one. The Petton family have belonged to Port de Grave nearly as long as Port de Grave has been on the Newfoundland map.
How long, insofar as you know, have your family been in Port de Grave?
Oh, I don't remember how far back because my great-grandfather and back beyond him, I guess.
And Port de Grave has been here for a while. It's as old as Bonavista and equally as historic. Since 1500, which is antiquity to most mainlanders, fish have been taken out of these waters, and through all the great ups and downs of the Newfoundland fishery has maintained a continuous enterprise from the very days of Cabot's landfall.
Well, they've been up and down, not every year being alike, but on the whole, there's bad years, good years, some was contributed.